Hey, look at these skies, man. Look at these skies, man. It's like 2, 3 in the morning, but look at these skies. Trying to say this is natural, man. Trying to say this is normal, man. Hey, man, shout out to the cars, man. And you know what I was thinking, man? It ain't about black versus white, and it ain't about red versus blue. All the hijack did was give us the coming together of opposites, and they feed on our weaknesses, our ego. They feed on these things, anything that can keep us separate, keep us apart. They feed on our fears, they feed on our hatred, stuff like that. But it's not about white versus black, right? They try to make it a race war. These whites versus these blacks. Remember, this English is a funny game when you realize black is white. That black means wicked in the 1828 Noah Webster Dictionary. It means atrociously wicked, and white, W-I-G-H-T, in etymology means a demon, a creature, so just dig on that, man. White is black, black is white. It can't be white versus black, but they give us this white versus blackness. When we realize that the real Spaniards and Portuguese, the ones we was dealing with in the 1400s and 1500s, they were all melanated people. They were all brown-skinned, so-called black people. They whitewashed the images, but they still got depictions of King Charles V, Charles Quinto. We call him the Black Charles, black-ass King Charles, man. They still got pictures of the melanated Europeans, all the royals in Europe, and we see the melanated Nagas right here, Montezuma and them, and Tecumseh and them. We got rolled up on not by white, W-H-I-T-E people, but we got rolled up on and invaded by whites, W-I-G-H-T, demons, And these demons were looking just like us. When I say demon, I'm talking frequency, energy, So when you look at the biblical wars between Israel and other tribes, they were, a lot of these tribes serving other powers completely, like, what we would consider demon or Satan, which just means adversary. These are adversary frequencies to the creator energy. They are the coming together of opposites, androgyny, alchemical serpent type flow. Them Spaniards and Portuguese and all that getting off them boats were so-called black people, man. The Indian wars we were fighting, Chiquimagua, Choctaw, Creek, Seminole, Cherokee, all that, were melanated people against melanated people. Brothers, family, pit against each other over these treaties. They didn't even include the Shawnee in the treaties, Tecumseh and them. They already knew where he stood. He's making a pan-native alliance. He's bringing all the indigenous cons together. He's making sure the hijack get off the land. You already know where Tecumseh stand. You ain't gotta ask Tecumseh about where he stand. Look at this sky, man. You don't gotta ask Tecumseh about where Tecumseh stand. Tecumseh gonna tell you straight up, man. We ain't giving up no land to this hijack. This ain't even our land to give up. This is the creator land. We can't make a bargain for something that's not even ours. This is a gift. This is a treasure. You can't give it away. You can't sell it. You can't sell this. You can't bargain this. There ain't no such thing as some type of black unity. It's always been black on black crime. since Adam and Eve, or since Cain and Abel. But I'm sure Adam and Eve had their differences. But Cain and Abel, man, brothers, fighting each other, man. The sons of Lot, right? Moab in there, Ammon in there, always going up against the seed of Jacob. We got tribal wars in Africa, from West Africa, the East, and the South, this. And a lot of times it's the hijack putting us against each other, is my point. If we weren't fighting each other, there's no way the hijack would have got the drop on us here in America at all. But it wasn't white people getting the drop on us. It was Nagas that looked just like us, that were our family, that were connected, that had their own dracons, had their own dragon frequency, had their own royal yada yada, you know what I mean? Like, it wasn't like the white people, the white power conquered the indigenous and the Indian this. Nah, man. We conquered ourselves. That's the dragon eating its own tail. They gave us the they gave us the formula to destroy ourselves. Made us fight about who's going to benefit off of what land, off of what treaty, and really it was not some new fight. We was already fighting. America is biblical land, man. We been fighting over this promised land. The Moors, Morocco, and them want the promised land for themselves. They know the good and the fatness and the goodness of the earth. But what's the goodness if you don't got no security? What's the point of having breath without security? If you can't secure it, if the Creator's not rocking with you, you cannot secure your land. I don't care, you know what I'm saying, how many new Black Panther Party members you got with you, man. If the Creator ain't rocking with you, you don't got no security. You don't got no exodus. You don't got no freedom. It's all vanity. It's all vanity. What's your plan, man? What's your end game, man? You want to get land, but how you going to secure it? You want more life, you want more breath, but how you going to secure it? You know what I'm saying? This is not about black versus white when white is black. And the people that rode up against us were also so-called black. And the whites, well, these creations just got in where they fit in for the most part. We've been talking incubator babies. We've been talking the souls, the orphan trains. Not all, but, many. Repopulation, used to repopulate from all this genocide. They got in where they fit in. They got promised gold and free land to come over here from Europe, man. And a lot of them are escaping slavery in Europe. A lot of the so-called whites were slaves in Europe to the black royals. I mean, just, read your history. Understand it's a more on more war. Understand the creation story behind something that's soulless. It didn't just start in the Tartarian World Fairs, 1800s reset. That wasn't the first reset. This is ancient technology. They've been creating soulless armies. We even read that there's a book called the Sefer Yetzirah, that shows you how to use certain Hebrew and ancient tongue to create golem. Like you can create your own golem through frequency, man. And this is old technology. I'm just saying, like, it's not black versus white. It's who's behind the whites, right? Who's the king of the whites? WIGHT. And does he look like you and me? Is that what they're hiding when they talk about the shadow ones, the ones in the shadow? Who's pulling the strings? I bet you it's a Naga that look just like you and me that's pulling all the strings, man. Using so-called whites as like a straw man, using them like, hiding behind the whole race and making it a race thing. And making black versus white like the checkerboard, or like the chessboard, right? I mean, just think if you were super smart and you had all the drop, you had all the unlimited money, you print money, you wouldn't you maybe hide behind a whole illusion? Ain't that what they do as a magician? You hide your hand, right? You show a hand and hide your hand. I'm just saying, man. It's not white versus black. It's a frequency war, you know. And if a naga look just like me, but ain't on my frequency, that naga could be just as, you know what I'm saying, much of a threat as someone who looks opposite of me, you know what I'm saying, who proves to be, on a solid, loyal frequency, you know what I'm saying? Case by case, everybody's case by case, man. Like, in our tribe, it's all about frequency, man. It don't matter how this you look or that you look, you know what I'm saying? Are you keeping the code? And it just makes me value the code the creator gave us so much, because it might sound simple, man. But not too many people are most high over everything. That don't mean you're perfect. It just means you ain't putting no hijack. You ain't praying through no person to get to the creator. Like you are most high over everything. You put the creator over any energy, entity. You put the creator, your breath, your security over everything. That means you're not putting your name in vain, HaWah's name in vain, because you don't want no vain breath and you don't want no vain security. HaWah is breath and security. A secure breath is existence, the existing one. That is HaWah, to breathe, to have foundation, to have a revelational foundation, man, to reveal that revelation that comes when you walk through the door, when the strong power enters your house and you start to gather. That's the ABG, not ABCs. Aleph Bak Gam. Strong power enters the house. You gather, you walk through a door, You get your mama, your inhale, your mama, inhale. You get your your father, exhale. You get your you need that to breathe, to exist. You take that in vain, you have no breath. You want a vain breath? That's no breath. You want vain security? That's no security. Without that, you don't have security. Without a code, I'm just grateful for the code HaWah gave us. And when, most of everything just shows that, what I'm saying, we can at least unite and agree and bond on that. No framework, no matrix, no Christianity, no Islam, no Jehovah's this, and none of these denominations. Like, we can actually just take a step away from everything they taught us since they invaded us on our soil and connect directly with your great spirit, with your breath, with your frequency, man. Because, Adam and Eve, Adam got that breath in his nostrils directly from, that's how you return. Most high over everything is rule number one in the 10 Commandments. No other gods before me. Don't make no images and bow down to them and worship none of these idols. Just put me first. Don't call another mama, mama, and don't call another daddy, daddy. We could step out all these frameworks, you know what I'm saying? Be you, do you. I'm just saying, most of everything gives us a banner, a code, you know what I mean? That, look, I'm not going to hijack you, and you're not going to hijack me. I'm not going to say, read this, and because you're reading this, you must go through this to get to your creator. You're like, nah. I'm always going to tell you, go directly to HaWah. Because HaWah is never going to get mad at you for going direct and say, how dare you go directly to me? You're supposed to go through the sun to get to the Father. You're like, oh, okay. Hey, man, did HaWah ever tell you to do that? When you read that stuff, does it say, thus says the Lord? Does it say thus says HaWah? Or is it like, is it somebody else teaching you, They bring us the opposites, the coming together of opposites slays the dragon. The stuff you've seen in the sky, It's a coming together of opposites. But it works both ways, right? Because when we come together after they have made us consider ourselves opposites, right? When the Nagas come back together, when X marks the spot, man. When the B's and the C's come together, man, my Nagas don't y'all get caught up in this internet, you know what I mean, narratives and beefs, man. Y'all keep being positive. They see Nagas in these streets, man, they see y'all coming together. So what they do, try to start up a whole new round of, it's gonna be Bloods versus the Crips. I'm hearing all this stuff, Bloods versus the Crips. Man, shout out to my Nagas in LA, man. We know how positive we are out here. And you know what I'm saying? We always gonna have a few that do their own, you know what I mean? But the frequency that we got is love, man. Love is the highest frequency, man, right here in our city. And I'm sure you feeling it too as these solar flares are hitting the earth, the X flares, man. As the dragons are flying in the sky, we getting our frequency back. Don't let them try to hijack you into thinking that it's gonna be a Bloods versus the Crips battle. And they see Damus kicking it with you know what I'm saying, you know, Lokes over here and this, you know what I'm saying. Everybody's loving each other, man. Ain't nobody tripping on this and that, you know what I'm saying? It's just about respect. You know what I'm saying? It's about being in the highest frequency and respecting each other. And, you know, that's the AHA, you know what I'm saying? Love. That's the love. Don't let them trick us into thinking that, you know, we going the wrong direction when we know we going, you know what I'm saying, you know, right back home, you know what I'm saying, where X marks the spot, man. You know what I'm saying? We got our swords out, man. You know, I'm over here practicing my ninjutsu sword fighting, you know. This is how we do it in LA, man. We coming together. And nah, it's just crazy to me. Like, even hearing that, I ain't heard no I ain't heard Blood versus Crips since 80, 84, 85, 86. You know, other than that, it's been internal situations that niggas got, or this street versus that street, man. You know what I mean? Yeah, you got, you know, your, you know, rival this, but you don't hear as a whole this versus that. You know what I mean? Everyone got homies. Anybody that go to jail know they can't be on no Blood versus Crip situation, man. It's just we together or we ain't together. You know what I'm saying? Because that's about survival at that point. It's about your breath and your security. It ain't about blue versus red, and it damn sure ain't about, you know what I'm saying, you know, this street versus that street. You know what I mean? You got to be together, or there ain't gonna be no unity. You know what I mean? It ain't black versus white when black is white, and you ain't black. You a tribe. That's what we getting to, you know. It ain't black versus white. You ain't never been black. You a copper color tribe of Nagas. You know what I'm saying? Now, what tribe you from? That's the next aware question we all ask as we tribe up. But it takes that strong power to enter our house for us to even tribe up and gather. And once we walk through the door, we get our one united breath, and we take that breath together. And that's the moral to the whole story, is to come back together. So don't let nobody, you know what I'm saying, trick you out your awareness and your vibration, try to put you together. There ain't no more red versus blue. There ain't no white versus black, man. You know what I'm saying? Not when we battling people that look just like us. You know what I mean? It's about frequency. It's about the creator's code or nothing else. It's about most high over everything. It's about reality. It's about having a vision, the dragonfly perspective, man. Shabbat, Shalawam. Just want to hit you with that on the Shabbat, on these beautiful gray skies, man. Because I realize, man, we ain't going to have too much more of this hijack, man. I love y'all. Shalawam, cuz. Wow.